All right, so I finally went to an FFL near my house. Actually, it's not even minutes away. I finally checked it out. Uh, I only went in there because I was like trying to figure out some information about my pistol permit. I took the course and all that before, but I didn't follow through because of the issues with the references and whatnot, and I just because a lot of not knowing what to do on certain parts of the questionnaires or whatever. So I went back to see if he can explain some things to me and let me know if I need to start all over or whatever. But we ended up talking about a couple of things. One of the things we talked about mainly was because I was asking him about does he, because he's a trainer and he's an instructor, do you what's up with how come New York doesn't have we don't, I mean, we have hunting and all that stuff here, but our gun culture is not like California, for another liberal blue state that's also anti-gun. They got a lot more options. If you look on YouTube, there's a lot more channels that are California compliant, California, they're breaking down all the laws and rules, stuff like that. And we don't have that a lot in New York. It seems like a lot of people just they just don't care. They rather move than actually comply with the law or even talk about stuff. There's videos of people saying this is what you have to do and this and that. But I'm saying there are several channels that are dedicated in California to the guns, despite the laws and the restrictions that they have. But we talked about that. We talked about me without having even the connections or the know-how, wondering why can't we have this big massive, outdoor kind of not indoor range, because indoor ranges suck and you gotta test for lead poison and all that often when you do that, because you know what I mean, it's just not good if you don't have the proper ventilation system. But we talked about I'm why can't we just use where our old steel plant is at? I've always thought that, felt that way, but he has the blueprints ready, he did the work and all that, but it's there's a lot of problems with the dirt and the ground, whatever. It's the old steel plant, and there's a lot of BS in the ground, so they gotta deal with all types of different government agencies and get so many permits and all that. So I'm saying this is me that's looking at damn, that would be amazing to build like what you see Corleone Noir doing with all the tires and the messed up cars. Why can't we just build something like that up there in that area? Because it's the same type of thing. You see a lot of those type of things in Arizona and California. We don't, I mean, it snows 8 months out of the year here and it's cold as shit most of the time, but at least for the summertime we should be able to have stuff like that. But anyways, he is in the position, he's did the work, he has the, I assume he has the capital to get stuff done, the investors, but it's still a hiccup for him, being that there's a lot of environmental shit that you gotta deal with. But that was interesting too, because I had the same idea for the same location, and there's already people out there. While you thinking about it, there's already people out there doing the research, getting, finding out what they have to do, getting their lawyers to look into the different government agencies they have to contact to get permits from. It's a lot of money just doing that stuff, just getting the blueprints built and trying to figure out which agencies you guys talk to and get approval from. That's an expensive, arduous situation. Well, we talked about that. We talked about mainly we talked about the pistol permit thing too. I know Sarge just did a video with somebody talking about I hope this is not, whether how what you should do if you're trying to leave. I forgot who the person was leaving or going to, but basically New York is hard to get. Basically what New York is, you take the pistol permit course, which ranges from $50 to $60, 3 to 5 hours. I don't know which is which, but I think my course was 5 hours that I took, and that's $50. Then you go get the application, you fill it out. That's $20. You gotta make an appointment to turn it in. Then they give you some information that you're supposed to take to get fingerprinted from the FBI or the sheriff's office. I think it's the FBI. But you gotta get fingerprinted from either the sheriff's office or the FBI. That's $90. You gotta buy specific photos for your permit. They have to be passport photos, which that's a couple bucks. It's not a lot. That's something you could actually do the same day. Get your permit and your passport stuff taken out the same way, because it's the same type of pictures that's needed. And then you wait until they decide whether or not they think you should have a gun. You have 4 references that have to be legit, like they have to live there, know you for 10 years, and that's kind of crazy. Like, say you move around, my city, and that's the things that you need to know is like the city of Buffalo is like they're strict by the book, but outside of the towns, it's like you get a little bit of leverage. Like you could use one person that's not from your specific town. Like certain towns want specific things, like, oh, you gotta have at least 2 people, you gotta have at least all 4. I think the city of Buffalo is all 4. You might be able to get, but in Lackawanna, long you have to call them and let them know, yo, I'm using one person that I grew up with that's not in the city of Buffalo. They're a gun owner as well. So it's like stuff like that, like just basically what to say, what you want to use it for, and that. It's just, the reality is it's just stupid and it's unnecessary. But we also talked about how, like, a lot of people get to New York, and I'm saying, sorry to have recommend the person just get New York because it's not gonna happen, whatever. But it's harder to get, but it is worth getting. And it depends on where you live at too. If you live in the city, like, no. But if you live in like outside of like New York City, if you live in like Albany or Syracuse, right, like outside of the major cities, the wait time is not necessarily that whole year. Like you might get it in 6 to 8 months. I know the UPS driver that I know, he got his in 6 months, but he's also a emergency firefighter, and I think they do a lot of gun raffles and a lot of police officers do stuff together. So it's like, I'm sure all the people who helped be his references and all that helped him get it, his process expedited. But he got his shit in 6 months. He's thinking he got to wait a whole year. He's on vacation now. He worried about, damn, when can I go get off to actually go buy a gun? Because I think that's also the rule here in New York too. Every gun you buy has to be on your permit before you buy it. So basically, you go to wherever, buy the gun. They don't give it to you. You go back downtown, say you purchase a gun with the receipt and all that. They put the gun on your permit. It was a photo ID. And that's $5, and you have to do that every single time you buy a gun. Every gun you buy, you have to have it on your permit, and you got to go down there and pay the $5 every freaking time to do that. See, this is dumb. All this is a money grab. But that's what we ended up talking about too. Basically, how like he was saying, like, get it, like, if you travel a lot, right? People who travel can still carry. They don't want to deal with all the bull crap. Like, you have to deal with each state. Each law has different rules. So if you go to Florida a lot or whatever like that, what people were doing in New York, they were getting in New York, which is good in 17 states, which again is hard to get, but it's worth having because 17 different states recognize it, and you can just carry concealed through those 17 states. But then, like, what people were doing was they were going to PA, which is also, again, a state that has strict, loose gun laws, but they're strict for people who are outsiders. But they were going there, they were getting that for like I think he said he paid $105 every 5 years to keep that up to date. What Florida said was, well, a lot of these New York motherfuckers come down here in the summer or in the winter when they get cold. The old people come in their house, but they bring their guns with them, but they're using Pennsylvania pistol permits. So they said, freak it, we need to get that bag, and they started charging $180 every 5 years to have a Florida pistol permit renewed. So I'm like, you see that within it, that's a big money grab thing. And I see like Gillum, right? Because I keep trolling on my friends that live in the South in Florida or not, because they're dealing with Stacey Adams, and they're dealing with Gillum. Not only that, but in Florida, Gillum, I mean, his attorney general, or the current attorney general, is also an anti-gunner. So it's like, y'all gonna have to deal with a lot of shit. I know we also talked about how Connecticut, because there should be like a big hub of Connecticut, New York, Massachusetts, where we just one channel and everybody just have a big ass Google Hangout and talk about this shit. But I guess their attorney general, like, they're on their phase 2 of their, anti-gun bullshit. I know we are too in New York, but theirs is like, their attorney general was like, yo, we're not going to abandon features. Because that's what they did in New York. You can have an AR-15 or whatever. It has to be featureless, or you have to lock them out. You have all the features that are evil: fixed stock, adjustable stock, pistol grip, and flash hiders or whatever. You have all that as long as you lock them out. That's your option. What the law stated was they blocked the features. What she did was she blocked the parts. So with her, it's like they went a step further. So a lot of the stuff that they got is, you know, it's going to change. Like, again, it looks like it's hard, but they're a lot. Some of the, like, the one sister I follow her, I think she's in Connecticut. I'll link her name if I remember it. But she was showing her pre-band, I think it was an AR pistol or whatever. But stuff like that, I think they're about to get rid of all that, whatever. But basically, what he was saying about the pistol permit in New York, you get it in New York. People were getting it in Pennsylvania so they can go to Florida. Florida said, F that, we want that bag. So now you got to pay us $180. And I'm saying, you see the whole money grab, right? Like, there's a way to get rid of the Second Amendment, which is like you got to have all your T's dotted and your I's crossed. And Congress has to be all in line. And all this shit has to work. You have to have all the Supreme Court justices to do it. But they can't do that, right? Because that's not going to happen. So they keep doing these little nitpicky things and little annoying ass shit that just makes it more difficult for the average law-abiding gun owner, or, you know, your black ass basically, to get a gun. Like, just the whole trip of taking off work, going down there to pay for parking downtown. Depends on what city you live in. That could be a trip right there too. Then you gotta pay for the application. Then you gotta pay to get your fingerprints done. And then you just wait and decide if some motherfucker just decide if he want to give it to you or not, right? And yeah, that's that. And hopefully your references are all good and they ain't got no drama and they're honest with you. They didn't do nothing crazy. And you do have to get the references notarized. So I don't know if that's free or not. I think the bank might, if you're a member of that bank, they might do it for free. But that's also another process you gotta do. You gotta get your references notarized. But what else we talked about? We talked about phase 2 for us. He said, which is ridiculous. Gillum already implemented that. I did the video, but I didn't upload it. But it was some of the stuff that Gillum wants to implement in Florida, which is, again, it's just mind-boggling that people are go to Florida because they have no income tax and they have lax gun laws, right? People go there for that reason, and he's trying to change that. Like, this shit is dumb. But our phase 2 for our laws, Governor bitch-ass Cuomo, he wants to mandatory 21 age to get a rifle, which is dumb as shit. You know, you heard LeBron, well, I don't understand. If you can't buy a hotel and you can't buy this, but you could own a gun. Well, if a motherfucker can go fight in a war at 17, he should be able to do all that shit, I believe. If he can pick up a gun and kill people for his government, for his state, then he should be able to go by and do whatever the fuck you want to do when he get back home. I just don't make that. If you're changing the age, which is what Cuomo wants to do in his phase 2 of the so-called SAFE Act, which is just unconstitutional as shit, then you should change the age for people in New York to go join the military. You should not be able to go fight and kill people for your state. You're representing your state, but from your government. But you can't come back home and buy a gun to protect yourself or go hunting and do shit at 21 years old. Like, that just makes no sense. That's one of the things you want to do. They want to get rid of the whole loophole girlfriend act shit, which is basically there was a big shooting here a couple years ago where a firefighter got killed, but the girlfriend bought the gun for him and he killed a bunch of firefighters, and that's when they changed the law, made it, you know, it's a hate crime to kill a firefighter and all that other special dumb extra shit that doesn't make any sense. Killing people should be killing people. You don't need all these extra federal laws. But they want to get rid of that loophole, and that's something Gillum said. And to me, it's like, okay, like the guy was telling me at the FFL was like how somebody you knew went down to Florida, bought a gun. His brother bought the gun. He gave the gun to his brother, and his brother brought it to New York. Right? Can you do that? Yes, but are most people taking that risk? No, they're not. Because what happens if that gun is, if you get pulled over, if there's a crime committed with the gun or whatever, even a lawful shooting, they go back, they look at the gun, they say, first of all, it's not compliant with New York if you bought it in Florida. So that's your biggest fault right there. It's technically what they would call an assault weapon, even though it's not. So that's one L. So then what happens is the police authorities here will go, let's trace this number back. It came from a FFL in Florida. We go to the FFL like, hey, who did you sell his gun to? Oh, I sold it to so-and-so. He lives here. And then they go to so-and-so and he goes, how did your brother get your gun? And he's like, oh, I gave it to him. So now y'all all got a bunch of felonies, right? And it's just stupid. One thing the dude said to me too, which is true, I guess some kid got popped. He had an ounce of marijuana, unregistered license, no license, unregistered car, and a Glock with 17 in it. right? So that's a shitload of problems right there. And all these new laws that you're trying to implement on people, they're not stopping him from doing that. Like, he sold drugs, obviously. He had a car that was unregistered, and he had no license. And he had a gun that New York says is an illegal gun. But not only is it a legal gun, an unregistered gun, but it had too many bullets in the magazine. So it's like, again, do you think motherfuckers care? Like, the people who these are supposed to stop doing that, they not stop doing that. He's breaking a whole shitload of laws that was just stupid. But now you, with your, and this is another thing that came up, was how, like, even though we have 10-round magazines and our guns were supposed to, technically when you go to the range you can have 10, but at home for self-defense you're supposed to only have 7 in your gun, because the way the bill was written and language and whatnot is just dumb. You're only really supposed to have 7 bullets. So Pookie and Ray Ray with his Draco and his 100-round mag comes into your door. He got that, but you're supposed to technically only have 7 bullets in your gun or at home. Like, that's just again, these laws, they're not helping anybody. They're just dumb. And it's like, we're at the point where it's like, it's not even a point in debate. You see bitch ass Vince Mensa, I want to debate Killer Mike on why he doesn't need an AR-15. Like, we're beyond the debate, dogs. Like, you like what you like, I like what I like, and we're gonna go vote in our interests on those things. Unfortunately, black men haven't comprehended that. Black gun owners, male in particular, they still want some, I'd rather have the socialism bullshit than I would have my ability to have guns and whatnot. That's whatever. But when it comes to conversation in general, like, the debates are done. Like, I'm tired of listening to The View or any of these. They conflating magazines with clips, and they're conflating semi-automatic with automatic rifles. Like, they just do all these dumb things no one goes and hunts with an AR-15. Like, yes, they do. No, we don't need 10 rounds. We only need 2 or 3, but they still bring a 5-round mag when they go. Like, just dumb shit. Like, it's to the point where there's no point in debating anymore. Like, you go in your corner and do what you're going to do. We're going to do what we're going to do until we can have a real common sense conversation about what we can do. Now, I did do a video about some of the stuff that Gullin wants to implement in Florida. And again, none of that stuff is going to stop people from doing what they do. But in our phase 2, 21 years old of age, I don't support that. Any mental situations, which I'll talk about that, why that's a problem. They had a situation here where, even when I was filling out my pistol permit, it asked you, have you ever been on medication? Have you ever been in a nut house? All these things. But there was a situation here where a guy actually took some medicine, antidepressant medicine, whatever, for something, and they used that to take his pistol permit away from him. And I'm saying that's what the whole mental illness wave that everybody's on, that Charlemagne and all these people are talking about and in the media. I'm like, yeah, I gotta chill, because they're gonna use that shit to deny y'all black asses for y'all pistol permits. Yeah, I keep talking about shit like that, saying I'm diagnosed with this, I'm diagnosed with that. Gotta chill with that shit. But that's something else that Governor Cuomo wants to put on there. Any, obviously, domestic violence situations, that's just a no-no. You gotta just walk away, my guy. Like, any situation from a female, you just gotta walk away. Unless you don't care about losing your ability to own a gun, just walk away, because they're not playing with that. Like, any DWIs, any domestic violence situations, they're taking your shit. You're not gonna have you're gonna lack the ability to bear your arms. That's just that. But our phase 2 is also some dumb shit with all the guns have to be registered. Currently, like, if you have a fixed mag, you can have all the evil features you want, adjustable stock, pistol grip, what else? Oh, and flash hider, whatnot. But if you fix a mag, you're good. You're technically not an assault rifle, because, again, they made it about features, whereas the Attorney General in Massachusetts, she made it about parts. So their shit is a step further than ours. But he wants to come back and make everybody register everything, which, again, is a money grab. Every 5 years, you got to pay such amount of money to say that you have a gun. Like, it's just dumb. They want to change the age of 21. Then they want to make you, right? Florida has a 3-day waiting period. He wants to give us a 10-day waiting period. And he wants to police your bullets. Like, if you have a 10-round magazine, you can only buy 20 rounds per gun per month. Like, all types of ridiculous shit that this does not stop any criminal from doing anything they don't want to do. It does not control violence at all. It's just being a dickhead. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I unapologetically say, I'm happy that Kavanaugh got through. Fuck all that bullshit. He gonna hopefully do something with this national reciprocity thing. in the past, I thought that could never really happen unless there was like a national database where everything is registered. That's like still my like conspiracy eyes looking like. If they give us that, what they gonna want in return? You know what I mean? That was at the time when Democrats were in power, so I'm like, that's not gonna pass without them getting something out of it. But I hope that does, because like that was the whole point of the conversation. It's like I gotta go buy a license in Philly. I mean a PA. I gotta get one in Florida. And I think Trump did tweet something out, and I can't find the tweet, but I know he did say it that like driving is a right. It's not a privilege. I mean, driving is a privilege. It's not a right. But owning a gun is a right. Like, it's a constitutional right, right? And we can go from state to state with our cars, but we can't go from state to state with our guns. That's dumb. If you break down the language and what a right is and what a privilege is, it don't make no goddamn sense. So, now, I do know, like, different states have different emission laws and rules and whatnot. So when you're getting work done in your car, like, say you got a car that came from Cali, I have a van like that. It needs a Cadillac converter. I can't buy a Cadillac converter from here because of the way the law is written and the way the emissions is done. I need to get that Cadillac converter through the emissions of a California situation. So I literally have to go there to do that. But so they recognize it when it comes to parts and emissions. But you can drive your car that's all effed up and doesn't have the same emissions all over the country. It's not going to be an issue. But Trump did say that. He made it plain. And I think if Trump can do national reciprocity, if he gets that done with Kavanaugh, that motherfucker gonna win. If he get it done, like, he might use it as a way to get elected again. But if he get that shit done via Kavanaugh, man, listen, that man gonna win his next 4 years. Even though I don't think mentally, I don't know, he's already old as shit, and I don't think he got it to do another 4 after these 4. But he will win if he gets that done, if he gets that passed. But anyways, we were talking about all those things. Another thing we were talking about was the gun ranges and stuff like that. And I was wondering, like, why, again, like, kind of understanding, like, our gun culture here is different. Like, the reason why these laws and stuff like that are able to pass, because even they passed in Massachusetts and Florida too. I mean, in Cali too. But, like, it's weird how, like, we only have, like, a handful of, like, we broke down all the different ranges and how much all of them cost and whatnot. And most of them are indoor ranges. And, like, again, indoors, they suck because you got, like, if they don't have the proper ventilation system, you breathing in all that lead, and it's like you gotta get checked for lead poisoning multiple times a year in the indoor. Outdoor, you get tested once for lead poisoning if you shoot outdoors. If you shoot indoors, you gotta get tested every couple months if you shoot often indoor. So, like, you see, again, like, you see Cully and Noir videos. You see, like, how they got the big junkyards with, you know, the abandoned cars and the tires. And it's like, why can't we have something like that here? And I was talking to him about that and how, like, we had the idea of the same spot. Like, we have a big open landfill where we can do that. It's a former steel plant back in the day, but the ground is technically toxic, so they can't do that. And, like, this is me thinking about something like, oh, we should be able to go there and build this. But there's already people who already got, like, the blueprints done. They did the research. They paid lawyers to find out what, you know what I mean? Like, that alone, doing the research on the land, what government organizations you got to talk to, all that costs money and time and energy. And I'm saying, like, as I'm thinking about it, he already out there getting the tools to get it done, and he's still having hiccups, right? But we was talking about how, like, different ranges have different things. He told me it's one that's not far from me. That's like, it's a whole damn, like, it's like they do food and dinner on a week, on Friday, Saturday. You get a key fob. You go in there like a sports club. You can't shoot obviously after 9 o'clock, but you can go there and hang out and chill if you want to. If there's a snowstorm, shit hit the fan, that's like a safe space for people who have that. Like, damn, it's like we mad far behind. I'm talking about black male gun owners when it comes to situations like that. Like, we trying to do GoFundMe's to buy land and do that stuff where they got a whole damn shelter to just go hang out and chill that's fully fridged and drinks and you can cook just for being a member. It's like $180 a year, he said. But it's actually an outdoor, but it has like an indoor part of it, which is good. But that's the thing that I would like to, like, you know, they do, like, to do a 3-gun competition there's no ranges around like close and within 20 minutes, not highway miles, or 20 minutes, not highway time. And you can go do 3-gun competition. Like, you got to go so far out and away. It's like, why can't we bring that closer here? We talked about all that type of stuff too. But the new laws in New York, getting a pistol permit, all the features, stuff like that. You know, like, that was the point that was made too. It was like, you could call the sheriff and ask him, well, what is this and what is that? And I can see the racial biases. Like, a lot of these people who are in law enforcement, they don't know the laws themselves. So it's like, you think you got all your T's checked, crossed, and I's dotted, and you get pulled over, and this dickhead cop doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't know the laws himself, so he's like trying to bring you in, and you're like, oh, I can have this flash hider because it's welded into the thing, or my 10 round mag, I have a 20 round mag, but it's penned to 10. Like, that's common sense basically, but you don't know who you get pulled over by. So, and you could have an anti-gun cop that's just like, I'm taking you in. Like, it's just that whole situation. All this stuff is just dumb. That's why Second Amendment is important to me. It's definitely in my top 5 issues voting. I would never vote for anybody who doesn't have a strong opinion on the Second Amendment and protecting it. I just can't. Especially just living in New York, watching all the shit that I see, Cali, Massachusetts, all these blue states, and now possibly Florida and Georgia about to get a taste of that medicine if Stacey wins or if Gillum wins. Yeah. But it was cool to finally step in there. I've driven by this shit a million times. Never went in there because, again, like, it used to be promoted as a SWAT store. And it made it look like it wasn't open to the public, but he said it technically was, but the public never came in. I'm thinking, like, I guess that's probably why they realized they changed the name of it and they stopped promoting the SWAT store on it. They were just cutting out business from regular consumers instead of going to, that was our perception, though. We always thought it was, like, for cops. We didn't, because the way they promoted it and the way they marketed it. He said it was always open, but they got rid of that element of the store and that imagery that they had on the outside of the store, to where I guess they got more civilians coming in now. But so they probably lost mad business just because of that. Like, again, like, I mean, I had no choice, but if I do want to order something and have it shipped to my FFL, it's literally up the street from my house, like not even 5 minutes in the car from me, and it's an option to go to. But it was cool to finally get to go in there and check stuff out. And him break stuff down too, like why he doesn't carry certain weapons and whatnot. And because I know he had a PAR, was the pump action rifle. I wanted that when I didn't realize how easy it was gonna be to get my regular AR-15, just fix the mag. And now, again, I'll probably do the video breaking down what that was and how that worked out. But he broke down, like, he got rid of those guns because nobody was buying them, and it's really not really effective. It's good for hunting maybe, but it's not good in a defensive situation. But yeah, that's it. That was my experience actually going in there. I went in there to ask for one thing, and they ended up talking to the dude for like an hour about a whole bunch of different stuff. I probably would like for New York, we need a hub. And I'm saying Massachusetts needs the same thing. Connecticut needs the same thing. Cali needs the same thing. Connecticut, I said already. I know Florida, y'all might. Florida and Georgia, y'all might need the same thing, because that's going to completely hurt them, like, a lot. Because, like, they have free lax gun laws, and they're about to implement a bunch of shit that doesn't do anything to curb crime. It's just going to make people who are into guns and enthusiasts have a more arduous time getting guns. And black people are on the bottom of that narrative. And most black people, they don't think about getting guns until after they get robbed. So it's like, that's going to happen. Then you're going to go like, I'm going to go get me one. Yeah. That's not going to happen. Oh, yeah. He broke down, too. And I don't know if I said this in another video. About, like, all our pistols are considered carry conceal. But when you fill out the application, you can say hunting and targeting. You can say carry conceal. So it's like, you're able to carry, but technically to the range home. Like, but how do they dictate and know where you're going? So, like, when you look at what happened with the brother in Chicago, he had a restricted, I don't know what it's called in Chicago, but basically he had a restricted pistol where he can only keep it at his business or at his home. He can't carry it. You can't carry it concealed. You have to lock it in a box, separate the ammo, all that type of stuff. And I'm saying, like, those are the type of things that when these Democrats implement these laws, they hurt your black ass, right? It's just that simple. If you a business owner, like, it's a crazy thing. The dude called him out when I did watch the interview of, what the hell is his name? Dude from Fox Sports 1, who just did the interview with Roland Martin, whatever his name is. But he talked about how he's anti-gun, he don't believe in the Second Amendment, he thinks it's antiquated, blah, blah, blah. But then admitted that his father, who stayed in the hood, who didn't run out to the burbs, he carried a gun because, and he even made the point. He made the point when he was doing his All Lives Matter argument. He made the point that my dad needed a gun basically because black people were the one he had to worry about, robbing him and stuff like that. Because he owned businesses in the hood and he hired black people and he stayed there. But he also carried a gun. Not for white nationalists, not for tiki torch motherfuckers, not for the police, but for other motherfucking black people. So he made that point, yet he's still anti-gun. Like, that shit didn't make any sense. I don't know. But that's my video. I'm out.